But on the subject of criminal investigations, here's a headline out of Bloomberg: Greece considering legal action against U.S. banks for crisis. Greece is considering taking legal action against U.S. investment banks that might have contributed to the country's debt crisis, private minister, and it goes on, said. I wouldn't rule out that this may be the course, their minister said in response to questions about the role of U.S. banks in the crisis in an interview with CNN's Fareed Zakaria. The program scheduled for broadcast today, and then it goes on from there. And that has now aired because I heard them playing clips of it on Bloomberg driving in. Yeah, here's that headline. Bankers jailed, sued as Iceland seeks culprits for crisis. AFP, French news agency. More than a year and a half after Iceland's major banks failed, all but sinking the country's economy, police have begun rounding up a number of top bankers while their former executives and owners face $2 billion lawsuit. And when Iceland finally got the documents, they found out, just like we found out with Timberwolf and everything else here in the U.S. with Goldman Sachs, that Goldman Sachs ran this with their government ministers, paid them off, and premeditatedly set the whole thing up. But what did Max Kaiser tell us 2 years ago? He was in that Icelandic bar with the bankers, and they bragged about it. What I'm going to do is drill down deeper into what's happening with the global financial meltdown after we take a round of calls. Then coming up, Thai military slaughter of red shirts intensifies. They're fighting armed troops with slingshots. We have video of this. Talk about bravery. Herald Sun reports parents pimp kids for swine flu test. Parents are enrolling children as young as 9 months in drug trials in exchange for hundreds of dollars. These parents are absolute trash. And that dovetails with New York midwives lose right to deliver babies at home. This is medical tyranny. I saw a statistic where in some cities over half the children are born by cesarean just because the hospitals make more money. I mean, this is taking over the entire life cycle of humans. I saw more reports today. I've got them in the stack of checkpoints looking for people with farm-raised eggs and people getting their own milk. I mean, that's the new, police powers. It's not enough to have their phony drug war, but now they're after Americans that want to be self-sufficient. I mean, this is total war. This is siege that is taking place. We're being domesticated. So we'll talk about that as well. Okay, let's just do this. Cliff says he disagrees, and I normally go to callers that disagree first, but he's on another issue. We don't really screen your calls, but we do ask what you're calling about. Colonel Six, who's a colonel about to retire, he had called in with some interesting info, and Fox News, AP, CNN, New York Times all came out in the last month and said, oh, the government is protecting and growing the opium in Afghanistan, and it is at record levels, and and it's come out that contractors are shipping it out on CIA aircraft, but we have to do this or Al-Qaeda will make the money. And so he called in and told us that a lot of people are calling the military saying, why is my son or daughter in Afghanistan helping grow the poppies? Yes, Pat Tillman, 6 years ago, wrote letters home about this, and so they had to kill him. Well, now they can't hide it anymore, and so old Pat got mad about it, the NFL star. So now they just say, yeah, we grow the smack, and if you don't like it, you're with Al-Qaeda. Now use your heroin. Colonel Six from Texas, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Alex, good afternoon. I wanted to speak about that. I wanted to tell you a couple of things that you're going to see breaking here real quick. The backlash from the Navy SEALs being tried for supposedly hitting a prisoner in the stomach. Now, Seymour Hersh is broken the story. I tried to get to you the other day.
No. In fact, I didn't cover it. Guys, print me Seymour Hersh, U.S. troops executing Taliban.
Yes.
And it said even if they don't know who they are, they kill them. That is New York Magazine. Go ahead.
Right. Take no prisoners is what it is now. Because if you take prisoners and they say that you hit them in the nose, then you get court-martialed. So to keep down any confusion about a guy who got hit in the nose or whatever, you kill him. Also, McChrystal is about to get kicked out of Afghanistan. Petraeus is mad as hell with him. The Pentagon has doubts that his war plan is going to work. And the reason that they're have doubts about they're going to work is because commanders all over this nation, all over the world, are being tied up with what we call congressionals. And a congressional, as you might know, is when a parent or someone gets in contact with their congressman, then there has to come an answer from that command, no matter where it is, what it's engaged in. And so these congressmen are being overwhelmed with letters. Why is it that I'm hearing on Alex Jones that they're citing your show as their source of information, and these congressmen who know who you are really getting to where they're listening to your show more and more. I know that for a fact.
But it's not Alex Jones. I just point out when Geraldo Rivera is talking to a Marine Corps commander, and they explain that, yeah, we're growing it, and you know, we don't like it, but we're told to do it, and it's in the New York Times. I mean, why do I always have to take the heat when I'm only reading the New York Times? I mean...
Well, see, it's not the heat. Actually, what I'm getting at, because I read a lot of the letters, is people are grateful for the fact that you put it out there. And
Colonel Six, I know that. Colonel Six, I know the parents are grateful. My whole point is, why didn't parents read the New York Times, AP, or watch Fox News when they admitted the government's growing it? I mean, why didn't that generate phone calls? Why is it when I point out...
Because, Alex, there's only 3 more people left on American Idol, and don't you know that the Cavaliers are out of the playoffs? And well, it's soccer season, and Joey's got to go to the skating match, and you know, that's why, Alex. I mean, they can't pay attention to everything. I mean, you know, I've got a lot of people that come to Colonel6.com is my website, and it's Colonel, then the number 6.com, and they ask me, you know, and I got a link to your show there and so forth, and I'm not trying to...
No, I've seen the site. It's a good site.
But what I'm saying is, I want you to know that people have woken up, and the troops, the young troops, the company grade officers, when you walk through a battalion, and you used to walk through a battalion, you hear, you know, some TV show or a movie or whatever, something playing in the background. I walked through a certain battalion, and I'll tell you, I walked through the 22nd MEU in Camp Lejeune last week. Every computer had the Alex Jones show blasting, and the commanders are not discouraging anybody from listening to it. As a matter of fact, your show is giving people leads on intelligence, on just, I have to sign off on whenever someone wants to make a change in designation of how their check is broken up. In the last week and a half, I know I got like 250 more changes for financial designations to EFTs in silver and gold. Okay? And these are among men that sometimes, Alex, can qualify, depending on where they are, can qualify for food stamps. Okay? But the ones that are just getting a little bit ahead, instead of putting it in the credit union or into some crazy other deals that they've been, you know, talked into, company commanders have been talked into, let some guy talk to them. No, they'll make up their own mind. They're doing their own research, and I'm supposed to ask them, are you sure you thought this over? Well, after the first 10 or 12, they told me that they had thought it over and told me what they had researched, and they're coming out of the same units. So they sit around at night and think about this stuff.
Well, that's exciting, but you're saying Congress is getting phone calls.
Congress is being overwhelmed with phone calls to the point that Obama dressed down the generals, and he's being pressured to bring McChrystal out of Afghanistan. And if I can prove what I want to prove against him, I'm going to go put some handcuffs on his happy ass and bring him back home.
Well, God bless you, sir. Call back again. More calls straight ahead.